What is up, guys, girls, and dank memers? Squire here. Today is gonna be my second video in this new series that I think I'm gonna call Band Pick Win, where I kind of analyze and go over picking bands specifically in series. I might end up doing it in single games, but at that point I'd probably just do a VOD review, more back in regular season. But especially as we're ramping up to Worlds, it's gonna get much more exciting. And basically I'm just going to go over bands, picks, what the teams could have done better, what they did really well at, just kind of just going over it. It's nothing too overly specific, kind of is, but just looking at where teams may have faltered before the game even started. Picking bands, the game's not necessarily won or lost at picking bands, but if you get like certain players on certain champions or stuff like that, you can really help determine the rest of the game. And I think it's a very interesting thing to look over, as well as it's actually quite fun too. So basically this time we're going to go over TSM versus CLG from the Summer Playoff Finals. Spoilers, CLG wins 3-0. Which was kind of surprising. I was expecting it to go to at least 4 games, maybe 5. But it was just a surprising turn of events, and we're going to try and figure out, like, maybe if the pick and bans affected that, which I personally think they did quite a bit. I think TSM in general had been kind of faltering in their pick ban phases, just throughout playoffs especially. It just seemed quite lackluster. But yeah, we're just going to go over it. Also, let me know in the comments below just what I can do to improve as I go over this. It's pretty freeform, kind of rambling, but we'll just go over it and get to it. So the first things first, Azir ban against Bjergsen. I think him and Phoenix are by far the best Azir players, pole belters, coming up behind, not in a bad way, but like just also I think he's very good. But I think Bjergsen is insanely good. You give him a champion he can carry and put the most DPS out possible on. Just to keep in mind, this is played on patch 5.14. It should be anyway. The other thing, as I've talked about before, Kalista ban is pretty much a given on red side. Usually Azir too, but specifically, pretty much every AD carry plays Kalista, and she's the strongest at what she does. She provides the most utility, good amounts of damage. She has a very nice build path, as well as the fact she's maybe not the strongest late game, but she's just powerful all in general, and pretty much a given, especially because Doublelift does play a good Kalista. Maokai's a solid ban against Dyrus. I believe he's really good at his TP flanks, especially, as well as just locking down the right member when he's playing Maokai. And he's good at laning with him too. Alistar against Aphromoo, solid ban. I would have, we'll have to see how this evolves, but I think Braum's a little better than Alistar, does kind of the same things. Aphromoo, granted, is very good on Alistar, but I think, at least right now, I think Alistar's kind of falling by the wayside, and Braum's kind of a better pick. Surprised by the Lulu ban, kind of, sort of, because Dyrus and Bjergsen can both play it. They both have played it. I don't think Bjergsen should be on Lulu. I think he should be on a carry. Personal opinion, it's team solo mid for a reason, as well as I think Dyrus can play better champions like Olaf and stuff like that. I actually probably would have rather seen the Olaf ban, unless they pick it, but different story. And then this last ban I think is Ashe, which is weird. I guess they're targeting Doublelifts 80 carries, but granted, Doublelift is a fantastic Ashe player, but I don't think she's nearly the strongest. If you really wanted to ban against Doublelift, I would have said probably Tristana is insanely strong, or Vayne, I guess. But, you know, that's part of their plan, I guess. We'll have to see how it works out. I don't really like it. Lackluster ban. It's kind of like when Liquid banned Draven against Cloud9 and then just gave them Vayne, which Draven's just a counter pick against Vayne, so it's not that big of a deal. This pick is, or this hover is funny. So the one set of champions I do remember is the top lane matchup this game, and the Gnar hover's funny, and something I think is very interesting is mind games in Champ Select that teams can do. So by hovering Gnar for that long, you can, I mean, it's kind of silly, but you could potentially be like, oh, hey, we might be picking Gnar, and it just like gets the other team thinking. Like, granted, it's nothing set in stone, and it's not that big of a thing, but I think there are some interesting things that could be done there. Like, oh, they might be picking Gnar, well, maybe we should pick it up. I was thinking about playing it anyway, like Dyrus maybe like, oh, I was thinking about playing it anyway, or that was part of the team comp we were thinking anyway, so let's just take it just in case they were looking for it. Something like that. Stress points to look at is, a lot of people hate on Dyrus, but I think he's a solid top laner, but Zion Spartan is definitely a stronger, more pressure top laner. Dyrus is great, TP engages, stuff like that, team fighting is fantastic, but in lane, Zion will put out a lot better pressure as well as split push better, which comes into lights we'll see in a second. Pobelter is one of the few mids I think that can handle Bjergsen's pressure and maybe give a little bit back. I still think the matchup goes to Bjergsen, as well as Doublelift is a much stronger all-around AD carry than Turtle. Not that Turtle is necessarily trash or anything like that, but Turtle found his best success on champions like Corki, Sivir, and his Kalista, where he provided a lot of utility and more just extra damage rather than being the main focus of putting out damage, which is fine. It's just like a supportive mid lane player or a tank top lane player versus carries and those roles, and it's absolutely fine. Nidalee pick is, or most important, first thing, Braum. First pick, fantastic. Like I was saying before, I think he might be the best support right now when played properly. Picking Nidalee into Braum is kind of silly. I think he's good against poke. Granted, I mean, Nidalee, you're more there for the map pressure, the early game advantage, stuff like that. But I think giving up Braum is rough, and we saw that in the Cloud9 versus Liquid series as well. Granted, I know that's forward in time, but that Nidalee's great at putting out pressure, but at the same time, she's falls off pretty hard if you don't snowball. But then again, she is used for that specific purpose. It's not like, it's like playing a Devourer jungle. You're using them for the purpose of later in the game they're going to be stronger, whereas Nidalee's very strong early game, creating vision, stuff like that. I think the Nidalee pick would be good, or Gragas. Okay, that's fine. Why would... Okay. I didn't remember that they picked Kog'Maw this early in the draft. Not horrible. You could say that it's... it is a flex pick. So they're saying, okay, this could be AD carry, this could be mid Kog'Maw. First things first, though, mid Kog'Maw's not been that popular recently. Poke comps are slowly falling off, especially against Braum, but Kog'Maw does good against Braum, so that's not horrible. The thing is, yes, it is a flex, but as soon as you lock in something else, it's going to be apparent what you're going for. What CLG could do is just call the bluff entirely. Well, not bluff, but say, okay, it's not a mid Kog'Maw. We're going to play, or we're just going to, like, then they know it's a Juggernaut comp, or, like, pseudo-Juggernaut comp. I think Kog'Maw's performs best when it's in a Juggernaut comp. I think not having it built around him is a little lackluster. I think he's a solid AD carry, but I definitely think he's way better in a Juggernaut specific comp where he's being protected. Nilly's alright for that. Heal plus attack speed buff is always nice. Maybe not necessarily the best. So already the team comp's a little wonky. Could be looking at a poke comp with AP Cog mid. That being said, there's already a Braum to block a good majority of the damage that the poke will put out. Can't block the Cogma poke though, so granted that's good. Let's just see. I think the Gragas Tristana, super strong picks on this patch. I love it. I think Gragas is fantastic. Great for isolating a target for Tristana, especially because she wants to fire on the same person, put their charge on it, and charge it up so it does more damage. And I think Tristana just in general is a really strong AD carry. Self-peel, scales really well. Especially with Zeke's build path is insanely good right now. More crit. You're just guaranteed 100% crit basically at certain points. The jump and the mobility is nice, as well as pushing towers extremely fast is always good. Janna picks, a little weird. Not horrible. But not something that's super popular right now. But it does help with the poke comp. If they do go with a poke comp, I can see. But if you're looking for a Juggernaut comp, it's not the best. It helps, but having extra AD on Kog'Maw, it's not horrible. It's not necessarily great. I would have rather seen a tanky peel support, but they don't really have any at this point. They banned Alistar and gave away Zion. Braum. The Gnar pick is where this gets interesting. I have a feeling CLG was looking for something like this because they picked a Yasuo, which has been known for a while. So someday I think was specifically the person that played it the most, but I know he played a lot of Yasuo. But absolutely love it against Gnar. Blocks his boomerang, he can't catch it. Cooldown's insanely long. Fucks Gnar insanely. He can just dash right in, do a ton of damage to Gnar, and dash out when he's not mega. If he doesn't block the boomerang, his shield does help with the poke, I guess, from that. I think it's a great matchup. And my favorite part about this comp, is you have two guys who are great at peeling and zone control on the front line, and then you give Zion a carry top laner, which I think is majorly important. You give Pobel to Victor, who he's one of the few people that actually, I think, plays it right. And then double lift on Tristana, which is insanely good. Good at all points in the game, like I talked about before. Really like this team comp. I think TSM's team comp has this identity crisis. Let me double check and see what their mid is, because they do run Kog'Maw as AD carry now. Which I think he's strong in this patch, but I just don't necessarily think he's the strongest. I would have rather seen them take Tristana or Jinx or... I don't get why you'd play Kog'Maw as an AD carry if not a Juggernaut comp when you could take Jinx. Especially Jinx Janna and push towers insanely fast. But... mid, I think he plays Orianna. I think that's what he plays. I have to... no, TF. No? Orianna. Maybe. I haven't looked at it. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he plays Orianna. Orianna's decent. So something a lot of people talk about mainly comes to mind is Monty. Primary engage. TSM's comp. Fantastic disengage. Orianna ball, zone control, Kog'Maw, E, everything just poking for while you run away. Janna, fantastic. Nidalee, run, throw spears. They have no way to get into fights, to start fights, to say, right now, here's where we're fighting. You have flash body slams, you have tornadoes, you have flash Braum ults, well, not the best, but like, there's a way to cause a fight. There's a way to fight here. And there's lots of CC and a big, hefty front line. Here, you have Dyrus, who's a good front line when he's mega. The only thing you can really have is hop, flash ult, Gnar ult in, but even then, or a TP flank, which is good. With TSM's good at doing TP flanks, but the primary engage is lackluster. So CLG can choose when they want to fight. TSM has to wait and hope and get a good fight. That's the major issue here. As well as you have great damage sources, but I just don't feel like the team comp's built well around it at all. I think the Nidalee pick is meh. Santorin's alright on it. He can camp Bjergsen, which is the goal. But then put Bjergsen on something that can really carry, that really does a lot of damage. I would have rather seen them pick Victor way before they grab it here. And then the Gnar kind of got baited, sort of. I mean, they probably weren't going to play Yasuo regardless. But you give Zion a champion who he can win the lane with, can split push with, can team fight well with, as well as just carry in general with, which is everything that Zion wants to do. Insanely good pick ban, I think, from CLG. Bans are a little wonky. They weren't horrible. And then here, like, it was a semi-good idea. It just seems like they have a bunch of, like, they just have an identity issue. There's no engage. They're not necessarily a team fight oriented comp. The Janna pick is, like, in my opinion, like, kind of maybe a worse Braum. I think if this was a Jinx instead, it would have been a lot better, and then maybe a tank jungler. There's not a whole lot of tank junglers here. Well, Echo would have been just fine. Or even even a Mumu. I know it's a weird pick, and Hai's the only one that's really showing it, but I would have loved to see a Mumu. That's your engage right there. You throw a Mumu in there. It sounds surprising, I know. A Mumu ults in there, or even flash ults, Q ults. There's your engage, and then follow that up with an Orianna ball, Dyrus ult, and then Turtle can free fire the whole day, and has that pseudo peel I was talking about before, where everyone's in the enemy team's face, so they don't have time to focus on killing Turtle. That would have been fantastic. The Janna would have been a little better there too, I think, especially for resetting the fight. I honestly think that actually would have been a really good pick now that it comes up. Other than that, game one. Yeah, primary engage. So that's the main thing. They should realize after this game, okay, talk about it. We weren't able to pick fights or have fights when we wanted them, when we needed them. So hopefully, I hate that it reset that, but that's okay. So we'll see game 2. Maybe they fixed it. There's an ad. Mount Everest. Climb. And then dramatic stuff happens. So the Nidalee ban, they respect Santorin on it. That's all right. The TF ban is, wait, what the fuck? Holy shit! I apologize. Wow. That's all we're doing here. I was about to say, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's tip. Okay, round 2 fight. Kalista ban instantly. Usually I would have saved that for red side. Force them to ban it. Like, otherwise you get to pick it. Turtle's good on Kalista. I'll say that. I've seen him play it. It's a good pick. I don't know why they first banned it. Granted, I mean, they're respecting double ifs Kalista, but silly. As well as CLG does the right thing, bans Azir. That's first pick worthy in my book. The Olaf ban, surprising. It wasn't played last game. I think Dyrus would have played it well, but I think that's a good ban against Sion. Again, wow. So they're going the same exact bans. Let's see if they ban Lulu last. I doubt it, but maybe. Tristana ban against... I don't know why they're targeting double lift so hard. Like, if you are really worried about his Ashe last game, he's just going to pick Ashe this game. So CLG runs the same exact bans. They're like, okay, it's fine. That's all we needed to do. Don't pick... First pick Alistar. Granted, the Alistar pick helps with their engage issue. Good first step. But... pick Braum. CLG dismantled them with Braum last game. Pick it. Okay. Nope. You know, maybe Les Boy hasn't played a lot of Braum. And, sorry. Maybe Alistar, they're respecting Afromu's Alistar. That could be what it is. They banned it last time, so CLG didn't get it, I guess. Come on, you guys can pick something. I expect Braum pick and that champion. Oh, okay. I really like the Jinx pick. Kind of surprised so early on, but I love the Gragas pick. They actually no, that brings up a good point. They don't have to ban Braum or. They don't have to pick Braum because Alistar's already locked in as a support. So they can wait and pick it up later and get what they think are more priority picks. Kind of surprised by the first pick Jinx. They know that that's the matchup now and they can pick something that they like and that they can use to focus down Jinx necessarily. Love the Gragas pick though. Great at resetting the fights, protecting Jinx, and isolating targets for her, as well as the primary engage. Or a form of engage, which is super important. The only thing is if Jinx gets caught by Alistar knockup or something like that, she's fucked. Kind of. Not really. Sort of. Maybe. Who knows? I actually would think Nocturne would be a good pick. I don't think that they're going to pick it. Or they don't pick it. I know they don't. But I actually think Nocturne's really strong and just got another set of buffs. So that's a pick for the future. It's coming. I think they'll take Nidalee or Echo. I like that. And they pick Kog'Maw. I know they do. Kog'Maw didn't work out last game. You're putting a lot of pressure on protecting Turtle and having him be more of a form of like the primary carry, which I don't get. I'm not knocking on Turtle. He's just not the carry style of AD carry. He plays great supportive. He does consistent good amounts of damage. But like all this shit talk, the major shit talk on him is like, oh, he's out of position. Oh, he gets caught out, or oh, he wastes his flash, or like, and so he's like more susceptible to getting jumped. Then why the fuck would you put him on one of the most immobile AD carries where positioning is the most important part of playing that champion? Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. I'm not saying he's a bad Kog'Maw player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. But like all this criticism aimed at him, unless you're trying to be like, fuck you, I can do it. Obviously, it didn't work the first game. But like, I think he's great on. Sivir did take a hit, yes, but like, he could have played Jinx last game, where like at least they can get resets. He can hang back, shoot a rocket, and then he has some mobility or something like that. I don't know. And I know what Bjergsen picks, and I don't like that either, but we'll get to that in a second. But like, especially with the Gragas picked already, like, an explosive cask fucks him. Like, straight up. Explosive cask even into traps, which I've seen, I think it was CLG set up really well, where Jinx throws out her chompers into an explosive cask, and you fucking CC locked for days. Especially when after Moo picks Braum, I think he should. Excuse me. Because that's the smart pick to make, but okay. Alright, so I'm gonna eat my words here really quick and look kinda like an idiot. In this situation, I like the Janna pick. I'll explain why. Janna Jinx shreds through towers so incredibly fast. And this is similar to what CLG did last game. They picked Tristana, great at killing towers, and just push towers and gained advantages off that. That's the macro play. That's the plan. And they're doing the exact same thing here. You have Xmithie kind of hang around, let bot lane push in the tower, and then shred it down. Janna is good at resetting the fights, which I think she, like I said, I actually think the Janna pick would have been good last game if they had a tank jungler instead of Nidalee on TSM side. If they, I still think Amumu, actually thinking about it, would have been close to the best pick though. Regardless, I think it's an alright one here. You can reset the fight and help push people off of Pole Belter's Victor as well as Jinx, which is super important as they are both quite immobile. And if they have time, they're going to do insane amounts of DPS. So having two ways to reset the fight is fantastic. Which, especially with all this CC and ways to reset and peel off the fight, is why I'm super surprised at this Yasuo pick that Bjergsen makes or gets. I mean, he might not make the call. I do think it is a favorable matchup against Victor. You can block the laser, block a lot of the damage and stuff like that. As well as can put some assassin-y sort of pressure on him early in the game. But you have to get in there as Yasuo. And with Xmithie and Janna, Gragas and Janna, even if he does get in there, he gets pushed out right away. Personally, I would have actually liked to see the Malphite pick. I can't remember if they don't do it. Yeah, stupid. I'll get to that in a second. But like as soon as he gets in there, there's gravity fields, chompers, as well as ways to reset the fight with Xmithie and Janna, Gragas and Janna. So I don't like the Yasuo pick. The Alistar is nice, you get some knockups, and then the Nautilus is alright, but I actually do think they should have picked Malphite. One, it's hard, you can't really dodge the Malphite ult. You have that insane flash by Turtle earlier in the season where he does flash the Malphite ult. But it's hard. If these two are out of position, a Malphite ult, Yasuo ult, they will be fucking dead. I think that would be fantastic. Especially you can layer on, then Alistar comes in, knocks him up again, as well as parallel convergence, and then Turtle has all the time in the world to fuck with them, basically. Don't like the Nautilus pick as much. I think Malphite's stronger, personally. Laning phase might be a little weaker, a little less wave clear. And more, he's a little mana hungry, sort of, but I would have definitely liked to see Malphite there. He's really popular now, granted at this time, not so much, but I think that would have been a much better pick. The fuck, did the saturation just change? Am I insane? I guess it was it's one of the lights. That was weird. It's obviously not Bard, we're looking at a top lane pick. Gnar, solid, rounds out the composition, does alright against Nautilus. I like it on Zion because it does give him, he is playing a tank, which he is vocal about, it's like not his favorite. But Gnar does have the potential to split push, as well as Zion's really well at his timings, or CLG in general, at their timings of TPing with Mega Gnar. I think there's a couple times this game where he actually gets interrupted by Dyrus, but regardless, overall, alright pick and ban phase, honestly, by TSM. Alright. Like, they could have done some stuff better. I don't get the Tristana ban. Like, regardless, Double F's, there's going to be something he has to play. the AD carry pool isn't, his pool isn't small enough to ban him out. Like, yeah, his Tristana was good last game. I'm pretty sure that was the game he got a penta. Was it? No. I can't remember. No, I think it's this one actually. But like, yeah, it was definitely this one. But like, he can play Jinx. You obviously wanted to ban his Ashe before, so his Ashe could be still played. Like, regardless, I just don't think Mr. Son was worth it. I would have rather seen like a Victor or a Gragas ban. If you're gonna pick Echo, Xmithie's two main champions are Gragas and Echo. Pick Echo, ban Gragas. Put him on something a little more uncomfortable or something. Other than that, I do think the Malphite pick would have been better as well. But it does have potential. Like I said, Yasuo can get in and out of fights pretty easily. Like, say someone knocks up and he dashes in there and then Afro and Xmithie knock him away. He can usually just dash right back. Like, find minions to dash back in. And TSM did a great job of fixing their engage issue here. I will admit that. Once again, I do not like the Kog'Maw pick. I think he could have played Ashe, Jinx, left Tristana open and played that. Something. I'm not sold on the Kog'Maw pick, especially not on Turtle. Personal opinion. I think if you're gonna have everyone rag on a player for a certain reason, don't pick the worst thing for that. Like, like I said, I don't think he's bad. I think he's a decent AD carry, especially in TSM's the way TSM works, because TSM is mainly about Bjergsen. Bjergsen is the carry of that team, and Dyrus has shown that he can do stuff as well. That like, he's not useless. But like, having a tanky top laner like Dyrus, which is fantastic, and then alright, sorry about that. There's a little glitch. My computer froze, so it might skip a little bit. I'm just going to try and pick up where I left off. Go over game 3. Just start here, and then, yeah, we should be good there. So, start with the Azir ban. I think that's fantastic against Bjergsen. I just noticed Bjergsen has something on his hands. I wonder if he's going through similar stuff that Hai was. Maokai ban again, ban 2, and a red side ban for Kalista. I think that was a good ban. Or, I think it's starting off well. I'm interested to see if they'll ban Lulu again. Kind of Logic Gaming, if they just go for the straight 3 games in a row, same 3 bans. Alistar ban, once again, I don't think it's that bad. So they do go for, they're just trying to raise Lulu's ban rate as well. Other than that, if they ban another AD carry again, I'm going to kind of lose my mind. And I'm going to really question what TSM's thinking. Just straight up. I don't think there's any reason to ban an AD carry against 3 AD. For fuck's sake, why? You should ban Kog'Maw against yourself is what you should be doing. There's no reason. He can just pick Ashe or Jinx or fucking any AD carry he wants. They'll be fine. Vayne even. Jesus Christ. Don't get the idea behind banning 2 AD carries against Doublelift every game. He has another one he's going to play just as well. Pretty sure he got a penta on Jinx last game. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's part of their overall scheme. Braum first pick. They're banning Alistar when I personally think Braum's a little better. You have to have flash really more for your engages. But even then, I've seen Afro especially does it where he will hop up to someone and then ult and then hit someone with a max range and pick them out. So even then, their engage isn't horrible. It's a good way to pick fights. And now TSM has to make sure that they have engage as well this game. I think the Gragas pick is good. I think the Kog'Maw pick is stupid again. The first two games it didn't work. Turtle kept getting like caught or wasn't having the right peel or just couldn't get a whole lot done. So let's pick it for the third game in a row. Like what the fuck? Oh my god. There's part of me that thinks maybe it's all a conspiracy. You know, maybe like TSM wants CLG to get the auto spot to Worlds because they know with points they'll automatically be put in for second. Well, you know, maybe it was all a giant plan. There's jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Dank memes can't melt playoff dreams. And TSM is all in on it. No, I don't know. I don't get why you would pick the same thing after losing it 2 games in a row. Just blows my mind. Like, it just wasn't working. It just straight up, like, yeah, they start off good early game, I think, game. One of the games. Savage memes can't melt playoff dreams, I'm sorry. I like Dank. Savage memes aren't good enough. You gotta be Dank. I don't know. Maybe at Worlds every game will have a Kog'Maw or something. There's the Ashe that TSM banned first game, and then if you take Xmithy's Gragas away, he's gonna default back to Echo. I think that's perfectly fine. Keeps hovering the Zed. I honestly don't think Zed is horrible. I think it would have been an alright pick. Maybe. The issue is there's just a lot of ways to nullify him. The Leona would have been a good primary engage source, but they do have the Gragas, which does help with their primary engage. The Janna is alright. Once again, like, take Jinx. Take Jinx with Janna and push towers down. Like, fuck people. My god. Double F's taking the Faith, and that guy's creepily wave. Alright, let's... Moscow 5, number 1. Nice. I think he switches it to Yasuo. I know he picks Yasuo, but okay. They pick the... Once again, I think Malphite would have been a better substitution. That being said, especially against Ashe, Jesus Christ. But, regardless, I see they're going for the knockups. Again, I like the Gragas more for the knockups. So not horrible, and I think he picks Victor, so they pick it against the Victor as well. So a good lane matchup. I'm pretty sure Zion plays Snar for the last pick, or for the last game. Maybe not. It should be Victor. I know Pobelter plays Victor every single game, and he's one of the few people that play it right. And by that, I mean, if you look at his win rate in general, it's actually pretty low. Nar's a fine, solid pick. Let's see what it shows. It's like 30 or 40, like way lower than it should be, like by far. Victor... perfect examples. SKT was running Victor with like an 80 to 90% win rate, whereas in NA it should show it was at like 20 at some point. It should be around, I think it was 22%. Jesus fucking Christ! Oh, it's like all you have to do: have your jungler around and just push the wave in and take their first tower. Take the tower for free. Victor has so much wave clear, especially once you get his E upgrade. You shove it in. Take the tower, push the tower down, global gold. Boom, every lane's doing a little better now. Your CS is killer because you just fucking E and kill the whole wave. And then you get the whole map opens up. You can go ward in their entire jungle because you have their mid tower down. It just blows my mind. And like, yeah, some of it's maybe like lesser teams playing Victor at like maybe not the highest level or something like that. But you keep your jungler around. Both Double Lift and Zion are going to be able to farm from afar. Boomerangs and just Ashe's natural long range / W. Like, worst case scenario, if they're worried about getting ganked, just they'll be fine. Like, they can hang back. Victor can just push down the tower, get the tower, and then the map opens up. You can set up for dragons. You take over the whole game once you get that mid tower. All you have to do is, like, for Victor, it's not that hard. And when they pick Yasuo here, they're not going to have enough wave clear to push back against Victor. I mean, Yasuo's wave clear isn't horrible, but his Q isn't like one-shotting minions early in the game, not until he gets his static. And static's what, 2,300 gold versus 1,000 gold item to upgrade his laser and kill the whole wave. I put the... And Yasuo can block laser with his wind wall and stuff like that, help stall it. So I think Yasuo is an alright pick against it. That being said, like, Pole Belter's just been killing it on Victor every game, and they just keep giving him Victor. Bjergsen is a great Victor. I don't know why they just didn't take Victor for him. Granted, Yasuo is a decent matchup against it, but overall, if we look at this, CLG has great AoE as well as engage, and the thing I like about Ashe is, especially the way CLG plays it, they usually pick it in a way that gives them fantastic engage options. Double-S arrows are usually on point and far away, but they time it perfectly so that, like, in this game I think it is where Turtle's recalling out of the brush, hits him with an Ashe arrow, and the rest of the team gets there in time to kill him. He said recalling out of a brush, right? That's what I meant. But, like, engage here, great engage here, and then, like, some backup engage. So it's not primary engage, but once the fight is started and everyone's starting to, you know, like, focus the front lines, you know, push back front lines, stuff like that, then Gnar can jump in and get good ults off. So I really like this comp. Great AoE. So you have, like, his damage is alright, but good AoE, great AoE, fantastic AoE, and then volleys and great consistent damage, easily able to focus on the target. And the thing is with this comp is zone control. You get a lot of great zone control. You have Victor lasers just draw lines, basically like, don't step here, you're going to either take the front of the damage or the ripple afterwards. Parallel convergence, great, as well as the clone, sort of. Tank Echo is not as big of a deal. That creates some zone pressure as well. Gnar in general is just like, that bar is red, I'm staying the fuck away from you. As well as just Braum's shield and ult creates good pressure zone control as well. If you look over at TSM side, great ways to reset the fight, basically what CLG did last game. Knockups for Bjergsen. I like this team comp because it is focused partially around Bjergsen doing the majority of the damage and being the carry. Love it. I think that's how it should be. I apologize. The other issue, though, is, again, the cog. I don't get it. I just don't get it. If you have all these ways to reset the fight, put a Jinx there. Jinx resetting the fight allows Jinx to get her resets and just run amok on everyone. And I know Turtle's a good Jinx player. I saw him play Jinx. Or I've seen him play Jinx well. And then here, I wish people knew about Malphite at this point. So granted, it wasn't super popular. He might have tried it out or something. I think Malphite would have been better. Just because if these two are in bad positioning, Malphite will fuck them. Like, straight up. Malphite is great if these two clump together for a second in the fight. Malphite can ult him, Yasuo ult, they're fucked. Like, I think that's underrated. But with immobile champions like this, Malphite would have been fantastic. Granted, they didn't know exactly who they were going to pick, etc., etc., etc. But, and Malphite wasn't the most popular picks. But I really do value Malphite Yasuo if you are going to run a comp like that. Just because the instant being able to jump on them and kill the damage dealers, I mean, because these are all tanks, you have to realize. Like, all tanks. Once these two are dead, there's nothing. And then Kog'Maw, when you're in the face, it's that pseudo peel where you're in their face, they are not able to kill Kog'Maw. And with the tiny little extra peel that Janna can give Kog'Maw, he can run amok over the fights once one of these guys dies, if no one else dies. But, and they try and do that. The issue with Nautilus is he gets unkillable. He gets super tanky, great CC, but his ult has so much time. If someone has flash up, and that ult's flying at them, they just flash away. Like, or just run the fuck away. I mean, it's not instant, it's not quick. So I think that is something to keep in mind. I thought I heard something. Other than that, I don't think it was horrible. I think TSM's main issues, if we want to think about it as a whole, their bans were weird. Just weird. I don't think they valued the Braum enough. Instead, they were thinking Alistar was a little worse. I think Braum was better in all of the team comps that CLG ran, pretty much. Except for the last one, I like the Jinx Janna, pushed on towers insanely fast. But you give Braum to like Tristana, and he can post up in front of her and just block while she takes on towers. As well as in this situation, great peel for Ashe. You're permaslowed in that lane. Like, you're fucked if you get hit by a Braum Q, pretty much. I just don't get why the ban on all the AD carries. If you wanted, I would have baited it. Dyrus is obviously, they want him to play some Nautilus, so give them Kalista. And use Nautilus to lock her down. I think Nautilus is great against Kalista. I think that's the one instance where he is really good because he can, the ult is targeted. On that, I think it was great pick and bans by CLG, as well as just great overall macro gameplay, especially utilizing the Victor correctly. CLG bans were the same thing every game. Other than that, I would have liked to see something other than Kog'Maw every single game, as well as, I don't know, giving Victor to Pobelter each game was weird too, especially when he plays it so well. Other than that, it was nice to see TSM fixing their engage issue after the first game. And yeah, I mean, Double F played 3 different AD carries, so I don't get why you're banning AD carries against him. The Janna pick was kind of surprising at some points, but I liked it in others. I don't think Janna Kog'Maw's the best necessarily, but Janna with Gragas is nice because you can reset the fights. Other than that, I think that's it for today, or for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments how I did, how I can get better. I just really enjoyed doing this, and don't forget to like, subscribe, all that, if it wasn't bullshit, basically. If it wasn't shitty to watch. And then, thank you. I plan on doing more of these as time goes by. Thank you. Bye. Later. Deuces.